Tiger Global is walking away from India. One of the world's most successful VC firms, $65 billion in assets, backed Facebook, Spotify, Flipkart. But in the last 4 years, their capital deployment in India has reduced significantly, and there are majorly three reasons for it. First, the tax shock. Tiger Global invested $1.2 billion in Flipkart between 2010 and 15. It was routed through Mauritius entities, which was the standard playbook for every foreign VC in India for decades, as the capital gains are exempt under India-Mauritius tax treaty. But later, Indian tax authorities argued for this particular investment, the Mauritius structure had no real business purpose. It was used only to avoid taxes. On January 15 this year, the Supreme Court agreed and handed over a tax demand of 14,500 crore on $3.5 billion profit. Subsequently, Tiger Global's response, exit India while the legal situation is uncertain. They had already been reducing their India exposure since 2025, exiting Ola Electric, Ather Energy, but this particular Supreme Court ruling accelerated what was already a deliberate withdrawal. After that, TVF exit was also there. Now comes the deeper structural problem of Indian startups. India has a large startup base, but very few number of profitable globally liquid exits has happened in the last 5 years. IPO outcomes are uneven, secondary liquidity are shallow, and the strategic M&A at scale almost non-existent. So for firms like Tiger Global, whose models require $100 million plus check sizes, the number of Indian companies that can absorb that capital at acceptable valuations right now has declined. Most startups that raised aggressively between 2019 and 2021, at the COVID time, are now focused on profitability, not expansion. So the thesis for expansion capital is not matching. And finally, the AI problem. Every major global VC is right now chasing AI, but India is largely a consumer of AI, not a producer. Deep AI research, foundation model, semiconductor work, none of that is happening in India at a meaningful scale. So India right now faces a double problem for startup FDIs. Exits from the last cycle haven't delivered enough, and the next cycle, AI, India is not yet positioned to capture. For foreign VC capital to return meaningfully, two things need to happen in India simultaneously. One, large successful exits from the 2019 to 21 startups. Meesho has done it, more are needed. Two, India needs to move from AI consumer to AI contributor. Deep research and infrastructure investment that is not yet there. So Tiger Global leaving India is not just a tax story. It's an early signal of a structural question India's startup ecosystem needs to answer.